download the Avalon app, which has the daily program and site map so you can plan your day. Search Avalon on the App Store. The Avalon Australia International Airshow is brought to you by the Royal Australian Air Force, the state of Victoria, the city of Greater Australia, special
opportunities in this particular display, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have your cameras ready. What will happen is that Matt and Will begin the race at the northern end of the runway. As you can see, they're just lining up, or they're going to be lining up shortly.
That is to your right.
Correct, to your right. Thank you, Tony. And they will race to the other end. Matt does have a bit of a handicap, and why is that, Julian?
In the crosswind today, what is Matt fighting against?
Yeah, it's quite a challenge. It's pushing him away from the crowd, and so he's got to allow for that. And that's going to make him slightly slower than he perhaps would have been in a normal situation. So he's got a few disadvantages today, and not to mention that the wind is actually strong even on the nose. So yeah, he's definitely got some challenges, especially in this direction.
Smoke on, here we go for the second race. Great photo opportunity here.
So you can see here now, he's slipping off to show information effectively to give us a nice little turn back around on itself if we need to go in the opposite direction. Marto's going to do two of these away from the crowd, so he'll come past crowd centre and do another one up and over to the left. Showing up just there how manoeuvrable this little factor is.
And we have a nice little place.
We get tracked and then locked onto by a missile. If we have to go all the way into a weapon engagement zone for whatever reason, and we do get lit up, then
if you're flying on, they just turn everything off. So no engines, no electrical power, the thing will just go out of control. You can't sort of, like a Cessna, turn everything on, just glide into the thing. You can glide a little bit, as long as you've got some sort of power on the aircraft.
And this isn't exactly a ground-powered fighter jet, is it? What sort of speeds are we talking about?
Up to 700 knots on that, 1.6.
There we go. There's a bit of a replay on the big screen there, Bangers. Tell us about the, oh, you can see, look, the ecto happening.
On a good day, when he through the high-speed pass, we go full backstick to try and get a bit of alpha and G on, and I've got one photo where I managed to make the jet disappear. It's pretty impressive. A big cloud just appears and the jet goes away.
Except for the orange bit at the back.
Yeah, what you're saying is you've got
To attend to that, and we have an expert commentator.
Indeed, to my right, I have Staff Sergeant Ray Joe, who's about to...
Wild Weasels, and you're wearing a YGBSM patch. I'm not going to ask you to tell us what that stands for because it's a family show. But tell us about the mission of the Wild Weasels.
Yeah, so the Wild Weasels, it started a while ago.
In the Vietnam War?
Correct. And smart to not ask about the singing because it is a family show. And
enormous engines, Neil.
Absolutely huge. I'd say 160,000 pounds.
Here we go.
When it goes.
Can hear it from here.
There's the roar. Cargo carrying aircraft, and you can actually fly these with just 3 people on board, 2 pilots and 1 loadmaster. This is a high-speed pass. The aircraft is actually capable of accelerating to over 400 miles an hour. It basically changes the shape of the wing. He will be talking to me about the cost to make sure that when they are listen, it's all been saved in.
That's right, and if they do feel anything, they take off quickly without leaving a note.
And it's got 3 times the capacity of the C-130. So we'll tell you a little bit later on in the radio contest. Do not miss that.
Here we go. Look at the front reversers now deploying. It will start to engage those front reversers. The flaps are out. With the team at various positions.
How difficult to keep stationary the very fast, very fast.
Quite a large break of the formation, and as you see 5 and 6 for the brakes. To the top of the aircraft. How close are they going to get when they do that?
They're only meters apart, which is why they conduct this many times in practice to make sure they've got it down. The whole display except for 1, 5, 6 up to 6 Paul's favourite manoeuvre,
We're going to count them through. 1, ladies and gentlemen, 2 corkscrews.
Now that must take a lot.
Have the rollbacks to the right there, so you'll see 2 and 3, and then 5 and 6 happening coordinated.
I will. It'll be good. I got Rob gave me a time card.
F-35s in close formation on the wingtip, and then we've got the Super Hornets sitting behind the wings, simulating that they are connected up to the drogue, getting some air refueling there.
But the MRTT is not only drogue capable, it also has that 2-ton crew. And it also sort of distinguishes itself from T for trainer.
Exactly. The Spartans, we saw Michael Veitch was in the cockpit of one, and the cockpit is anything but Spartan. It's fully electronic as it comes into land. What are we going to see here, Neil, on the right?
So we should see from this aircraft basically going to stop very quickly right in front of the centre essentially. Coming brakes on, and out of the back of the aircraft we will see a number of Sec 4 defence personnel, security forces, and they are going to leap out of the back of the aircraft, and essentially, if you imagine taking Hercules coming in from the right, also in the distance you can still see the fighters that are providing the overwatch. So what's the difference?
Yeah, so they'll be working with the security forces on the ground, in particular that Joint Terminal Attack Control.
Additional assistance in that securing of the airfield and maintaining the capability of denying anybody really, once you're on the ground, the ability to try and take back the airfield. So it's a real
It's a real simulation of the battlefield here at the moment.
Just the presence of a fighter airborne can really deter an enemy and make the runway clear so the C-17 can land as well. Something that I don't believe was mentioned as well is, for those that don't know, the C-17 can actually land in Antarctica.
Yes, on ice. And it does that. There is one of those aircraft, or some of those aircraft, that go down there fairly regularly.
Yeah, I believe the C-17 is one of those key roles for that humanitarian aid, as we were talking about.
Once again, as this aircraft slows down very rapidly.
Here we have one squadron, close to the crowd, and then Freddie and Winnie. So you just got to have that passion and determination and drive to get through all the different phases of Defence Force recruiting, but trusting the process is my biggest...
We can give them a really good way.
Well, that's the plan. They are recovering now after a fantastic ADF.
Defence's premier maritime capabilities, flown by wonderful young people like these two. I have Flying Officer Liv and Flying Officer Burjo. Hello, guys. I'll start with you, Liv. You are a co-pilot on the Poseidon. Tell us about the Poseidon. It is, in fact, basically based on the Boeing airliner, but it has a special capability. What is that?
Yeah, pretty much. As you can see behind us, this is the P8 Poseidon. We're a maritime patrol spent.
The United States Air Force's F-22
solid team.
Well, we can't tell you how happy we are to have you here, and thank you so much for bringing this extraordinary show.
Of course, we appreciate being here. We love going overseas. We love working with our allies, and Australia has been a phenomenal country to hang out in and get to know the locals.
Tell us, there's one thing I'm going to ask. The thrust vectoring, virtually no other Western fighter has that.
Correct.
What does it bring?
It basically increases our maneuverability, our chances to fight in the sky, gives us a leading edge above a lot of other countries in our maneuverability in